Welcome. We are down the shore with Joanne Kent,
Hi.
Maura Smith. We've got Joe Conklin and Angelo Cataldi. I'm telling you, I am so excited. We are really excited that you are here with us.
That makes one of us.
Yeah. You excite easily, Maura. I'll tell you that. If this is thrilling for you.
Oh, where are we looking here? Here,
You're looking
everywhere?
wherever you want.
We have
Kind of an operation
All
are you
kind of
running?
we have
angles.
three.
We're trying to get your best angle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have
Good luck.
Hold on.
three
Let me turn
cameras. You are welcome to look in whatever direction that's
South.
Yeah, south.
That's my best
You are
angle.
actually facing south. So
I am. Yeah.
We share something all in common. We all have houses down the shore. We are all in Sea Isle City. Angelo and I are both on 82nd. We also both have identical twin grandchildren.
Wow.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
interesting.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah. So
very
we've
cool.
got a lot of
You
similarities.
share a favorite color, too?
And her son was a regular on our show when he was a little kid. He was known as the Kid Comic.
Wait, there was two of those, though. Mike Donovan was another.
There was another one?
Donahue.
I don't know. All I know is
But he was youngest. He
And
was
Sean,
10.
he was only 10.
Sean Smith.
Yeah.
And the
Sean's-
only reason we brought those kids on is because we had to fill 4 hours every day. We didn't have enough to say. So
gimmicks.
these kids, they wrote their own material. It was pretty good.
Yeah.
They
some of
work
it.
cheap.
Right? They worked real cheap. But then we all did
Yeah.
until a few years, and then we started making a few bucks.
So, Angelo, I think that people are really going to want to hear what you're doing now. But both Joanne and I read your book loud, and
Very good.
you know, you were in our cars, you were in our kitchens, in our earbuds for 3 decades, and now what is it like? You're down
It's
in
fine.
Sea Isle.
It's great. It was a hard decision because I did it for so long and it was part of my life, and then I just walked away from it, and it's awesome. It's my favorite part of my life is right now because I don't have the demands of trying to fill 4 hours of radio every day, and I have a lot more time for things that are more important, like hanging out with my grandkids, which I've spent so much time with them. I know them so much better than I ever knew my own kids. And I have a podcast on television that I do once a week, and I write a blog every week. So if anybody wants to know what I would have been belly aching about on the air, they could just read the blog at angelocataldi.com, because I write every week, and it's mostly all negative, just like it was when I was on the show.
And you know what? When I told Joe that you were coming on, Joe also said yes. We really appreciate it. So we're down the shore. What are we like to promote any places that you like to eat or favorite?
This
boardwalk
place.
food?
This is my favorite restaurant, Anthony's.
Me too.
Yeah.
Anthony's Restaurant on, what is this, 87, 36?
Yeah, 86, yeah.
It's phenomenal.
It is.
I can't tell you. It used to be down the other side. It used to be
46.
where Joe lives,
Yeah.
down in that part. But he came up here. This was the original site of Bush's for 150 years. And then it changed hands a couple of times. And wow, eggplant parmesan.
It's your favorite.
No one's ever made it better.
It's
than they do.
amazing. That's my
Pasta.
favorite.
Did you have the bruschetta they make?
Nah.
It's the size of a bicycle tire. It's massive.
It is. It's
There it is. There it is. Look at that. Who does that but Joe Conklin? He does a
Now
whole
you're being provoked.
in the show in Wildwood
Right.
and in Ocean City. He does a whole medley of horns.
European. Yeah, we're at the shore. Wildwood.
Isn't that amazing? There's a whole medley of them. There's a bunch of them. It's great. Can't tell you how good it is. But Anthony's the best restaurant down here, and there's no doubt in my mind, and I've tried them all, the best shore town is Sea Isle City. It's the best.
that's
It's
We
the
didn't even tell you to
best.
say that.
There's
Let me tell you, 30 years ago, I was looking at Ocean City.
You got thrown out of Avalon.
I got thrown out of Avalon. It's a
Seriously?
long story. There
Yes,
was a
he did.
court fight, the whole thing.
Murray,
Was-
what was his name? Murray.
beach tag.
Murray
maybe?
Wolf, the very, very aggressive beach patrol
tagger.
head. All right.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. That sounds like a movie.
Was a beach tag issue. All right. Yes.
Oh, my
It would have
gosh.
been a nice court case because we ended up in court several times. But anyway, I ended up. I was going to Ocean City, and they showed me a place on 82nd Street, Townsend's Inlet, and we went, "Wow, this is nice." They showed one across the street. Went, "Oh my God, this is awesome," and I think we might be able to afford it. Let's not go to Ocean City. Let's. So now I'm thinking of, I'm talking on the air about it. I get a letter from the mayor of Sea Isle City,
Lenny?
Lenny
Lenny.
DeSiderio,
Yes.
Been best
who
friends
is
ever
still
since.
the mayor, 30 years later? And
He
he
loves
said,
Seattle,
you
too.
got to pick our town. He's such a great advocate for it. What a
Yes.
great mayor Lenny DeSiderio is.
He is.
He really
And
is.
so we got the best mayor I've ever met, except for Mayor Ed Rendell, good friend. And we have the best restaurant on the shore, Anthony's. We're in it right now. And we have the best, the beach.
The
The beach is
Beautiful.
beautiful.
Yeah.
So all I could tell you is we are in the best place to be on the Jersey
I think we have the
Shore.
best people in Sea Isle, too.
Yeah,
Why go all the way,
I can
right?
tell you this. Avalon, Ocean City, nothing against them, but none of them are drunk. Right? You can't drink there, right?
you cannot.
We got it all
We
here.
got it
And
all.
Angelo, you have so many friends on that block, on that beach block of 82nd. It's just,
Oh no, they're my wife's friends. I have no
That's what I
friends.
was gonna
tell
say, do you
people.
not have any friends?
I
tell
don't have
people,
friends.
I'm on the same street as Gail Cataldi.
Yeah.
That's
There you
like
go.
that is
Right.
my claim to fame.
Yes, and she's very friendly.
She's amazing. She is
Yeah,
amazing.
I'm taking it that you're not.
Hello, you've been here an hour. Am I friendly? Do I seem like a lot of fun to be around?
Meeting Gail has helped him become a Philadelphian too. That's softened the edge. a little
big
bit.
time,
Yeah.
big time. What was she thinking?
I love it. I love. You went over what she said when your last day at WIP.
Oh, my God.
It was so beautiful.
Wasn't it beautiful?
So beautiful.
You want to hear a nice story about that?
Yes.
So I'm recording the audiobook, right? First of all, they didn't want me to record my own book. They wanted to bring in a professional.
You are a professional.
33 years. They said,
wanted to bring
you
in
don't sound that great.
Radio
You
professional.
really don't sound that great. We can't believe you were on the air.
We can't get people to listen to this.
So now I'm doing. So it's a process to do these things. So she brings me in the first day because she knows I'm going to get lost in Center City. So she's with me. She comes in, and I go, all right, we're going to start now. And I do it, and I'm doing it poorly. They keep stopping me. No, you know. So I said, all right, give me a break. There's a sequence in the book where my wife gives her final message. It's a couple of minutes, and we got a transcript of it, and I would like her to read it.
Oh wow.
One take, perfect. I mean, it was so beautiful. Some of the emotion was still there, all right? We get to the end. I finally recorded the book. It took 4 days. I was awful at it. And I can't wait to hear Gail. When that's going to be the highlight of the whole audiobook.
Right.
No, they had me read it, and I did it. They said, for legal reasons, she can't speak on the audiobook. So you got me going, and it's been so nice to be around you all these years. And I went,
The hell kind of reason
what
is
is
that?
wrong with this? This is unbelievable. I was getting so tired doing it. I was going to hire Joe to do a couple of days of me.
Page 44. I feel like Paul Harvey.
That's a reference like 4 people will get, Joe. But he's a great radio legend. But anyway, it was
rest of the story.
That was
I-
part
honestly,
of my problem. My act is too old. I
Yeah.
skew old because I'm an old. I'm
well, it happens when you get old, Joe. There's no way around it. I found that out. But it's being in Seattle and seeing Gail was were the 2 of the best things that happened in my life.
That is so awesome. What brought you to Sea Isle?
alcohol.
No, I don't think he's kidding about that. I'm pretty sure it's true.
Honestly, when I was a kid, we vacationed in Wildwood, and I grew up on Wildwood's boardwalk. And God, we ran wild down there. We had a lot of fun. So when you get to drinking age, 18, 19 or whatever. We started in Margate. I had a house in Margate, then wound up in Seattle within a couple of years. And basically, I am always amazed at the kids that just descend on the OD and that whole strip
That's
down
amazing,
there.
yeah.
And so I was part of that, when I was a young person. Then I got a family, and, we came back.
Nice.
I don't know. So it was alcohol, basically.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was the place to come. We had tons of fun.
No shower.
Houses, everybody had house. Yeah, people had rented houses, and then
But
everybody
sometimes
got
I think
old.
Seattle gets a bad rap for that because it's not just about that, and especially not anymore.
I don't know. I still see them lined up.
No, they are for sure. They're lined up. But I mean, like as far as the lifestyle goes and everything.
Yeah, let's hope so. I think it's cleaned up. And you know what? When COVID happened, I think the whole complexion of the town down there changed when you lost La Costa and the Springfield, two powerhouses. I mean,
True.
I love the carousel and sitting out there outside, and then inside with the bands and LeCompte and.
He's
God,
still
the
around.
Reach. Yeah, he's probably working right now. And 2 shows today and 1 tonight and 3 tomorrow. He doesn't stop. But yeah, Seattle was just part of our life. It was part of the, where else would you go?
Do you know any other coaches, sports figures, or anyone that has houses down the shore?
Yeah, the Flyers guy. What was his name? The guy that won with Brenda Marr and the other town. And Richards and what you call it when they left the Flyers. Mike Richards, right?
Mike Richards,
And-
right.
and the other
he
guy.
was there, and the other
Stevens, John Stevens.
John
had a
Stevens,
house.
the really awful former Flyer
You
coach.
ripped everybody, and he's a good dude.
He was a good dude, but
He's
a
got a
lousy
house in
coach.
Seattle.
Was he a good coach?
He left and won a
Hold
Stanley Cup.
on a minute. He won a Stanley Cup as an assistant, right?
Very nice. But he Richards.
See what's we're back arguing
I was
again.
just gonna say you're back,
Anyway,
you're
yeah,
all set.
Rich Gannon, also a former terrific
Gannon from the
quarterback.
Prep.
He's been here, and of course, the one that dominates the headlines and should
Kelsey.
is the great Jason
Yeah,
Kelsey.
that's right. Of
Do
course.
you know each other?
He
Oh
is
yes,
a-
we do, and
yeah.
he's awesome.
Buddies with Kelsey. He's
His
great.
wife is awesome. His kids are
They are
awesome.
on fire.
His parents are awesome. We are, I'd never say nice things about these
I know.
athletes.
I'm
was
shocked.
nothing you could ever say but great things about Jason Kelsey. Because Jason Kelsey.
Philadelphia!
Yeah. He. See, that's why I protected Jason because he could do him a little bit. But in all honesty, that's to have Seattle and Jason Kelsey together. That's winning. That's a winning combination.
Sure.
We're so lucky to have him in our town.
We really are, and
Yep.
just all that he does for autism,
Yeah.
and and just such a nice person, and
Correct.
the whole family. They're just
He gets it, man. He knows how, because he's a regular guy, and so's his wife, and they enjoy it. They're having
Yeah.
so much fun.
Yeah.
He's having. Did you ever see any athlete
Never.
have fun like him?
Never.
I mean, it's unprecedented.
Never. He's amazing.
I mean, Bernie is the closest thing. Now, Bernie doesn't
right.
do all the craziness, but Bernie's a nice, affable dude, and all those hockey guys in the Flyer. But Bernie
Correct.
Perron is a Hall of Famer and a legend. He's the closest thing to Kelsey, really.
And I can't
they're
say
two
that
different-
Bernie has any direct contacts in Seattle, but I'm pretty sure he slept with at least 5 or 6 dozen of these women. Right?
And of course, the boat is in Wildwood because that's where the French Canadians go. Oui, oui. I know, the bathing suit, the banana hammock. You don't have to bring it up. I'll bring it up for you.
there's going to be so much editing.
Nothing wrong with that. Come on.
No, that's fine. It's a
That's
banana.
it.
Leave it in.
He's going to be. I'm going to tell you what to cut out.
Honestly.
He's going to call you and say, "No, no. This
Yeah,
stays
she'll
in."
make a call, then
no.
I'll call you. That was every day.
Every
how
day.
many times? It was
You're
like
seeing what this was like, only it was a lot worse.
I
I
got a
was gonna
couple
say.
gems here. This is out. He would go this out, out. So,
Yep.
all right, the two fine. But can you give me the third here?
Yeah, come
no,
on,
it's
just the
out.
third.
I would
Just
beg
the
him.
third, right?
In 1 or 2 countries, it's legal. I'm sure it is.
So, thank you for joining us, Joe. I mean, even when you do an imitation of someone I don't even know,
It still
I-
sounds great.
It's,
There's a lot of those.
There's a lot of those. I really do want to see your show. And Angelo, thank you for the memories,
My
the
pleasure.
3 decades. I mean, I was a pharma rep, and I was in my car a lot, and music would just kind of get to it. So I'd turn to WIP, listen to you. And, thanks for being loud. And I highly recommend people reading or listening to your
I can't
book.
imagine anyone else reading that book on the audio. Like when I listened to it, I was like, who else would do this? Didn't you feel like that?
Oh, God, I couldn't
Yeah,
imagine
you had
it.
to hear your voice through it. I mean, your voice is coming through anyway. So
Yeah, by the way, I didn't make any money on it, so I don't have that much enthusiasm.
Well, maybe people
It's
will watch this or listen to this, and they.
Are we getting
Oh, no,
at least a meal out of this, by the way? Anthony, we said great things about you.
Come on, I got the Tupperware back in my car.
Get him an eggplant to go.
We'll get an eggplant to go. Back in when you were on with Angelo and WIP, you're still on WIP now.
Yes, I moved off the morning show to the afternoon show, and I do some things on the middays now.
Nice.
It's like Conklin 2.0 is what Rod is calling
Better than
it.
ever.
Better.
I don't know about that. However, they won't let me do sports satire anymore. I'm doing just crazy callers now. Have you heard Tornado Shapiro, Ange?
No, I have not. I've heard you've created some new characters, which is
Yeah.
great, but it saddens me that a lot of the stuff that we could get away with 10 years ago, 15 years
Oh,
ago,
my gosh.
20 years ago, when we
Can't.
could get away with a lot, is not really politically correct anymore. It's because
They took-
if there's one thing Joe Conklin understood, it's politically incorrect humor.
Well, you
So
got to push
many.
it. You got to go right
And
up
we
to the
did.
line and don't cross it. And
Oh,
once
no,
in a while,
he
you have
crossed it
to
all the time,
in order
Maura.
to know where the line is.
He crossed it lots.
Yeah.
And that was probably his funniest stuff.
They took away a lot of our bullets.
A lot of any repercussions from it.
Several.
All right, hold on. Any repercussions? Our boss, Tom Bigby, that was in our heyday, he couldn't stand Joe at all. All right? Couldn't stand
And
him.
I loved him.
And Joe hated him with a passion. But Joe was more passive aggressive and he didn't want to get fired. And one day, Joe was doing some documentary thing with a crew. All right? And Joe did something that really ticked off Tom Bigby, our program director.
On our show, right?
Yes.
And it just
And I don't
happened to
even
be-
remember what it was. But it was like 3 days out of 5 he would do something.
Yeah, I would
that
get
the
called
guy
in.
had.
Come see
So
me.
he'd say,
But this particular day, the Comcast crew with Barcan
Okay.
were doing a little feature on me.
Oh,
so
nice
they had a
little
crew
feature.
in.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
well, you were there. You said, so the crew was following him everywhere. Joe, Joe, can I see you after the show?
Come see me. Come
right.
see me. That was this little sinister.
So Joe is going in to get yelled at, and he waves in the crew. And then what did you say to Bigby? Yeah, don't worry, just carry on.
Act like
Carry
you're not
on.
They're fine. Tom, you wanted to see me? These people are fine. They're
Don't worry about them.
get out of my
So
office.
when you're bought into the office, I can't even imagine where your mind goes because
Sounds like
very
you don't care.
It's the familiar. It's a familiar scene for me. It's like getting called into the discipline office.
Right.
Yeah.
Getting called in the
Why did that
principal's
happen a
office.
lot too?
Of course, it's a natural progression.
It's
from your little kid through grade school, high school, into the professional arena.
and so for most of us,
And Al too. Me and Al we're all up to mischief every day. That's what made the job so much fun. Really, really was. We were mischief makers.
mischief makers. What? So favorite moments, favorite with the two of you.
Oh, wow.
So many. We see Ange. I would. We had a lot of evolutions because I arrived and I had these voices and they had me. Oh, this is great. Let's have him doing the weather. Let's have him doing the traffic. And then I started doing the principals at all the teams, like the Eagles. I did the president Joe Banner, the coach Andy Reid. And then we could put them in situations that are crazy. And I'd write up a script, and Ange would say, "It's not nasty enough. More teeth."
No, that's true. I like them really hardcore,
Then
on the right side of the line. You know.
Then I learned about how we had to do satire, really. This is writing, and we stepped it up, and then the editing, it was a real process. It got real wide, and it's kind of like writing. I learned to write because writing is editing, really. It's not any good until you squeeze it all the way down. There's the diamond. There's the minute and a half. You know, our bits when we started were 3-4 minutes long. By the end, we really got it down by the time we quit, right?
Yes. We finally had it down. But
Minute-long
understand
bits.
this, right? So it got to the point where I wasn't even sure where the line was anymore. But Al Morgani was. He was very conservative.
he was good like that.
So he would edit Joe's final copy before Joe would record this stuff that we would do. But every once in a while, there was a joke in there that Joe just loved. So much so that he weaseled it back in.
After the
Unapproved.
cut.
Well, here's
How'd
the
that-
this
how'd
is
that
what
happen?
happened.
Right,
This
how'd
is
you
what.
do that?
All right, in 2007, I guess it was the Janet Jackson incident that changed everything with broadcasting. So, and we were CBS is our parent company. So there was the lawsuits involved with Howard Stern at the time too. He was the same company, and the Janet Jackson with television. So everything came down the line. New rules, things you had to sign off on. No racial, no ethnic. You can't do this. And as a result, I, being a comedian, I had to have every script written had to be approved or, whatever, read through, approved by somebody. So Angelo had to do it. He got sick of doing it. He's got his own job. He didn't feel like reading my scripts every day. He pushed it on the Al. It got to like everybody, you read that. I don't feel like dealing with him because I was the problem. I was like,
Problem child.
whatever. Somebody had to deal with me. We want him on the show, but that thing is like a bomb. You wanna clean it up,
Yes.
make sure it's not gonna have anything that'll
Well,
explode.
is it funny
on.
when they clean it up?
At the time, we still survived with some funniness. Currently, today, it's a lot harder to make it
To be
funny.
funny.
All right, but just understand. So Joe's telling you a really homogenized version of it. But Joe would fall in love with some of these jokes and would sneak them in anyway, even though they were. And then Al and
He
I
was
are
committed
sitting
to
in
the
a thing.
process.
It's a recorded bit.
It's called
so we're
Murder
sitting there.
Murder Your Darlings. You've heard that.
All right, yeah.
that-
So Al and I are listening there, and now something comes down, and whoa, I don't know about that.
Whoa, we
And
didn't.
I go, so we
that's
go to
not
break.
approved.
We go to break. I go, Al, how the hell did you approve of that? I didn't approve of it. Well, I didn't approve of it. So now we got to confront Joe. Joe, how did that get in?
That got in. That was in. That wasn't. There was no line
Yeah,
through that.
See that? Look at that.
So-
no matter what, he would always insist somehow it slipped in by us.
Or
You
if
believe
Al said no, Al, it's a no, and then I go to Ange.
Yes.
Ange. I go back to Ange. That's fine. So Al chucked it. Ange chucked it, but Ange let it back in on a weak moment. And I put.
It was usually a weak moment,
It
which
was
I
a pain in the
regretted.
ass to deal with me.
But
because I was always angling to get
These
it
were
back
the
in.
funniest lines. You understand?
I'm sure.
It got to the point with Joe in the last 5 or 6 years that we worked together where his funniest lines were no longer acceptable because it would take is one person to get upset
You're
and
right.
file a complaint.
You're right.
Right.
So they didn't want any of that. And it defanged us and especially Joe to the point where it was so much harder to do the show.
So, Angelo, I'm at the Sea Isle City Farmers Market this week, and right in front of me, 2 guys with New York Yankees hats or at each other.
They're
They
brave.
didn't know each other. And it was kind of like when you go to Europe and you hear somebody that's speaking English and you're like instant friends. You're like hugging them. They're, so those 2 were just loving each other. And I know the Yankees are very special.
Yeah, they are. These 2
you.
Yankee fans, were they big fat pigs?
Exactly.
No, they weren't.
Okay,
They were
because
too
we
thin
did a
men.
whole thing on the show where wasn't
Feeding
that
their
one of you
face. Well,
guys?
Morgani
yeah.
was, of course, a Red Sox guy.
Yeah,
He
right.
hates the Yankees and their fans, and he was always calling them big fat pigs. They've
Right.
got to stuff their face. That's all. I saw 2 Yankee fans. They had 2 hot dogs in each hand. Whatever. That was his shtick.
It was, yeah. And Yeah, I was a big Yankee fan because my dad was Joe DiMaggio. It was a whole Italian thing. Less so now than ever before because honestly, I just more and more I love football. I wear this with great pride.
I
This
love
was
it.
so much fun. This was more enjoyable to me when the Eagles won the Super Bowl last season than it was the first one. Because the first one I was on the air, I was working. This one I was strictly as a fan. It was just, and I hate Andy Reid. I mean, with a passion, with a deep, abiding hatred. And when it was 34-0, I said, "All right, God, you could take me. You need to take me now. I don't think my life's going to get any better than it is at this very moment."
That was great.
Love it.
And I was like you. I know you like a blowout. I prefer a blowout to a close
Right.
game. Oh, we crushed those guys.
Right.
It was great.
Right.
That-
But he did, how many years? 20 years you did Andy Reid?
Oh, yeah.
More than 20.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, that was the other thing. We got sat down. I got taken out to lunch on this one.
Oh.
It was Reed and it was I think it was after Banner. We had started carrying the Eagles games. And we had them, and then after the YSP merger, when we went on FM, so we're ripping the Eagles. We're doing Reed stuff. Of course, the big song, "We're Never Gonna Win with Andy." That was at the end, but we crushed them every day. So Rayfield says they've had enough. He takes me out to lunch. He says, "You got to realize that the Eagles are our partners. This is the changing of the world. It's just like you can't do ethnic humor anymore. If we don't have the Eagles as our broadcast partner, neither me or you have a job. So that's the reality." And that kind of got through to me. And, that was part of the change of, softening up.
But
Going,
I want to mention
and
something.
you hated that.
You said, I fought it. But
Yeah.
New
You
York. You
wouldn't-
said New York, right?
Yes.
All the years Joe worked there, to me, it's just my opinion, the greatest single thing he ever did was to rewrite New York, New York,
New York, you suck.
right? and it was New York, you suck. And he would take apart everyone in this song, right? So
did several versions.
and we ran it because we just thought it was one of the most brilliant things we had on our show in all those years. And one time our boss, Mel Carmison, was in a limo coming from New York to Philly. He's a New York guy. And he's got, we're going to see WIP. Let's see what they're doing.
Oh, no.
And he's got, "New York, you suck." And it was just it was so good. And
It's a no-brainer. We hate New York, right?
yeah, we hated it. It was fun. That's what the whole essence of what our show is find things that we hate and act stupid. And, acting stupid came very naturally to all of us. And so we just had to find the things we hated. That's where the humor was. Saying, "I love the Eagles." There's no humor in that.
Well, it's boring.
The humor is in taking a foil, getting somebody that you can rip into. And he was usually our best weapon for that. Like he would, all the way back to Rich Kotite.
Oh,
like,
yeah,
with
that
the
was the
very
first one.
He got all of those Eagle coaches. He got them all, and he made them all sound stone dumb. As dumb as he could.
I didn't have that much trouble doing that with Kotite. "Hello, are we on here? Hello, testes, 1, 2.
Ray Rhodes. Ray Rhodes was next. Ray Rhodes?
What again? Like I said, I did Ray at the bank. We got a great story on Ray Rhodes, but his thing was with the West Coast. We brought in the West Coast offense, but it looked more like West Coast video. Now we do the West Oakland offense, which is the run and shoot.
Can you do Andy Reid after
The
he
loss.
just lost? Yeah.
Right. It's a shame. Pardon, a little indigestion there. It was all set to get carried off the field for third straight Super Bowl victory. We had a crane rented to carry me. But my players had a big bucket. They were going to douse me with a big bucket of extra crispy, but we had to pull back on that. Timeshares.
I didn't have it. We ran out of steam with Reed after a while. I mean, it was.
Who's your favorite one to do?
Oh, wow. Let's see. Here's the 3-2 pitch. Swinging a long drive. Watch that, baby. Out of here. It's got a chance. Could it be? Harry was the greatest. He was the
Harry
most fun.
Callis.
Absolutely.
So many. So literally, Joe could do 500, maybe 1,000 voices. Seriously.
Yeah, a couple
literally.
hundred. A couple hundred.
Of voices, you're from Rhode Island, but your accent doesn't sound like Rhode Island. Where is
I think so.
you do?
I don't know. I
up
mean,
that
it
way.
was
Sounds-
really bad when I first came here. It's probably a little better now. I incorporated some Philadelphia into it, I hope. I tried to.
little
Well,
bit.
halfway. I think Rhode Island. I'm sorry for answering this question, but you're halfway between Boston and New York.
Right.
Oh,
Do you
true.
know what a Rhode Island accent
really.
sounds
I
like?
don't.
You say you don't sound like a
It's not worth
sounds
spending
more-
any time
I just
on.
thought you
Believe
sounded
I
me.
like
think
New
you
York. I
represent the Rhode Island accent.
Whatever it is, but I could just tell you that, that was the biggest strike against me because I didn't grow up here. Joe had a great advantage of being a native Philadelphian. And so it took a really long time for people to accept you when you're not one of them. This is a very provincial area, Philadelphia, but
That's true.
once they do, right, once they do, it's
Right.
the
You're-
best
Then
situation you
just
can
Once
like
you're
an
in the
Italian.
club,
Now
right,
you're
yeah, once you're in the
you're,
club.
you're just an
loyalty.
Italian after that. It's a big ethnic Irish Italian. It is.
It is.
Philly.
100%.
So
we love our
Seattle.
own. Yeah.
Yes.
It is,
Seattle
but
does-
that's the thing. That's the great thing about our city, about being part of Philadelphia. That when they do accept you, you are a Philadelphian, and there wasn't a better, at the end when they were telling me all these great things about my career, when they said you really became Philadelphia, that was the highest compliment I could get.
Well, you had to. You got thrown out of Rhode Island.
So he's right. I did. My
So
father
at what
kicked
point
me
in
out.
your career did you feel like you were
Father.
accepted?
Probably 8 or 10 years into radio.
That
Actually,
much?
it
Wow.
took a long time
Really?
because the first few years we didn't know what we were doing. We were not radio people, none of us. We stole Joe. Joe was actually working for Jody McDonald, and we stole him. We just basically went, we're the morning show. We're
where I
trying to
belong,
feature humor, and he happens to be highly humorous,
Does
so
he?
we'd like to use him. And then slowly he just became part of our show. But it took a long time before we found our identity. Al was from Boston, and he never
his
left
accent's
Boston.
strong.
Unlike me, I hated my hometown. I still hate Providence, Rhode Island.
Why?
Hate it because it's awful. Because it's a minor league city, and it's always feeling like it's it's trying too hard, and it's just I didn't like anything about it. I don't. Since my mom passed, I haven't gone back, and I even try to, when I'm driving up maybe to Boston in that area, I try to drive around it, stay in
What about
Connecticut as long as I can.
Newport? Isn't that beautiful?
Newport is not Rhode Island.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, believe me, if they could, they would secede.
Speaking of your mom, I love the story about your mom taking you and I think a friend to a doubleheader.
Yeah. Well, my dad was a big Yankee fan, so I was a big Yankee fan, and I was 12 years old. And my dad wasn't a dad of today. My dad didn't come to my Little League games. He probably knew I wasn't very good.
Dad-
Whatever.
The
Dads didn't do that.
No, they
Dads
didn't.
of that day. That's how
They
that's
didn't
how
do
they
that.
They
were.
went to work.
But
That's
my
what they
mom
did.
would come, and she was very supportive. And one day she just told me and my friend that we were going to take the train and go watch a day game at Yankee Stadium. And it was 3 hours to get there.
Oh my gosh.
It was a long time at the game, 5 or 6 hours at the game, and 3 hours to get back. And
What a
that was
cool
the
mom.
We
day.
would do that.
I would do that in a minute.
That
but
was,
that's-
and this is before parents cared that much
Right.
about their
Agreed.
kids.
Yes.
Right? I watch what happens now, and parents are basically a rec director for their children. Back then, my mom would say,
Right,
it was
go
like
play.
8 in the morning, go outside, I'll see you for dinner,
Yep.
good luck to you. It wasn't like that, but
Sure.
she did that, and that was the day I realized, you know what, I lucked out. I got a great mom, and I did. And it really helped so many of the things in my life. I consulted her. She lived till she was 98, and I was consulting her until the last few years of my career. Whenever something would happen, I would call my mom and get her advice.
So when you were growing up, did you ever foresee yourself as a
Oh,
TV
heck no.
person,
I was
radio
a
person?
writer.
Oh, okay.
I loved writing. I went to journalism school. I ended-
Columbia.
Yeah,
by
Yeah, I
the
went to
way.
downplay,
Columbia.
right.
No one even knows to this day how I got into that school. It doesn't make sense. I didn't have that great. My grades were great, but I took all easy courses.
He was a nerd and a
I
hall
was
monitor.
nerdy. Yeah, I was, and I was even the chess club. I was only the vice president. I never made it up to the top.
I'm looking at you so different now that I know
Well,
this.
you
I know,
should.
I know, and I'll tell you, neither. I think we told you, or
We're
really not sports people.
Our husbands, maybe.
But yeah, oh, my husband definitely, and your husband too. But the thing that really, your book with Loud, it just exposed so many things to make it even more interesting, like things about your mom. Or one of the best stories is from LaSalle when you were teaching, and you would get the student actor,
Yeah.
to come in. Tell us about that.
Well, that
'cause
was just the.
that was
I
brilliant.
love. By the way, of all the jobs I ever did, the job I enjoyed the most was teaching.
Really?
And I did it for 4 years at LaSalle, and I had this. I was doing a reporting course, and the critical thing about reporting, in a moment, a pivotal moment, that's whatever's going on in history, you have to be able to freeze frame what you're seeing so you can describe it. It's less really necessary now with the internet and social
Everybody's
media and
got a
all that.
phone,
But
right.
back then, you really had to describe what you were seeing. And I realized that one of the ways I could teach the kids how to do it would be to actually stage a crime
In the classroom.
in the class. And I would get one of these older kids, and I would have him come in and steal my briefcase. Because I was a nerd, I had a briefcase. and he would literally, in the middle of the class, I'd be saying something, and some guy would run in, grab the briefcase, and run out, right? And everybody would go, whoa. And I would even, because I'm such a great actor, I would run to
believe
the
it.
exit, right? And then I would come back in and say, well, what happened? And then they would all give me different versions. Because an eyewitness, you know what you learn about it? That even like in crimes, eyewitnesses are awful.
Worthless, yeah.
They don't normally really see what happened. And then eventually I would bring back the criminal, the thief, and people would either say, see, I told you, or more likely, oh, my God, I thought he had blonde hair. And it was just an exercise that we
I
did.
think that was brilliant.
interesting.
Well,
and
I love
went-
doing that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I went to LaSalle. I would have loved to have had
Yeah.
you. I got an MBA, but I would have loved to have had somebody like you.
It was great.
But I'm thinking about observation. I mean, you master observation, the way people speak and
Ear.
their
You
mannerisms.
have to hear it. But hey, the comedian's job is observe and report, just like, the writer, right?
No, but
you
the
just
thing with
make
Joe's got an extra level of talent. But by the way, just so you know, all the people I work with and all media that I was in, this is the most talented person I ever worked with.
Take all the time you need.
And I would tell him that even when I was fighting with him. I would say
we went
"Joe-"
at it almost every day.
Right, but
honestly.
I would say,
It's-
Joe, you are the most talented person. I need you to do that kind of thing. But Joe doesn't just do the voices. That's the thing. We're a radio. Joe did the mannerisms. Joe would become the person. And that's what you see in his stage show that you won't see at other stuff. When Joe's on stage, you will not just hear the voice. You will see the mannerisms and go, my God, how did he do that? And you're born with it. I don't think
it just happens. I don't know.
He was
I
born
don't
with
have
it.
any answers. It's just, it's genetics. Both my parents were singers, and we grew up in the house. Everybody was doing voices. Everybody had a Bill Campbell voice. Oh my! my older brothers. My sister would come home and do teachers that she had at Doherty. I'm one of 7. I'm the 6th of 7. So this,
Oh, my gosh.
this kind of is all, genetic. Really, it's a DNA. So it's part of our DNA to do this.
I love it because before you got here, Angelo was talking about your new venture with your new show.
Yeah.
Can you tell us about this? And I know Angelo actually.
I'll
we
tell
can
you
have-
how. I'll
I
tell
want
you
him
how.
to describe it
I'll tell
first.
you how it came about. like I just said, with the family, with the parents who sing, music was in our family, and we did all the parodies. I love singing. I never took it seriously. I wanted to sing for comedic effect all the time, but I did a lot of voices. I did singers. I did singing impressions. I did Johnny Mathis forever and Springsteen and Elvis Costello and all that. And I always wanted to bring them into the bits, but as a comedian, my live stand-up, I thought, wow, it would be great to have a band, just behind me to be able to do a music show with the comedy. Well, it never kind of came together. Well, after I got the gig at Parks Casino every week, we did this. Baldini actually started it. We wanted to do a roast with music, because it was Fran Dunphy and Charlie Manuel. And he said, well, let's put an orchestra behind him. I said, oh, that's great, Mike. You got an idea. He had the idea to put an orchestra, and he brought this guy Pete Spina in for a different orchestra. I think Pete will be the glue to put it together. Long story longer, I said to Pete, hey, would you be up for doing more of these? He said, yeah, whatever you need. So I said, well, we could actually put my sports act to music and have it be all about Philadelphia. I'll bring my brothers, get them involved. I'll get actual professional singers. And it all came together in a 90-minute show. And go ahead, Ange.
I watched it, and I worked with this guy for a long time. And I was blown away. Honestly, this is a level he never reached on our show. The thing about it is, even if you never saw him before, and I saw him many times, but if you never saw him on stage and you were a Philadelphia sports fan, you would go nuts at how great this is. And I watched him do it at the Keswick.
Yeah.
A couple of months after the Eagles won the Super Bowl this past winter. And it was so spectacular that I went, oh, my God. And then I looked and he had relatives in the band. Mm-hmm. Yeah. His two brothers came out who are amazing singers, and they were all singing together. And the thing that blew my mind the most, all these years, 30 years together, he sang as himself at one point, and it was fantastic. And I went, wait a minute, that's not a voice. That's Joe Conklin singing. I don't think I'd ever heard you sing.
I'm doing Billy Paul at one point. I do
Elvis it's
Costello
great.
At the end. I don't know.
It's the best thing Joe's ever done. If you've seen him on stage, you want to see this, because this is next level. And if you haven't, and you love Philadelphia sports, there's not a better night you could ever spend. And you got 2 shows coming up, right, Joe?
Yeah.
But you got to let people know. You got to get out to see these. If there's any tickets available, grab them now, because it's going to be once the word gets out, you're going to be doing more of these. August, September. You watch, because it's fantastic. It's one of the best things I've ever seen live in my life. That's how good it is.
Got that on tape.
So where do you get the tickets?
Well, it's July 11th in Wildwood. That's a Friday night. The following night, July 12th, is at Ocean City at the Music Pier, the Wildwood Public High School. And you get tickets at joeconklin.com.
Nice.
Thank you.
It's really good.
What's your favorite song that you sing, or what's the favorite part of that?
Long live Jerry Jones. I knew like the Billy Paul. We got a thing going on. Cowboys are losing. I forget the words, actually.
That's great.
What's the favorite thing in the show? We end with Elvis Costello singing What's So Funny About Peace, Love, and Understanding.
That's awesome, too. That's really great.
We do the Schaefer jingle in the middle.
I think I could do it with you.
Schaefer is the one beer to have when you're having more than
one.
More than one.
Wow. That was good. Maury, you could let's get Maury in that show, Joe. Get her in the show. She's in the show.
That's all we need is her on stage.
I know. I just love a stage.
Tell you, her son's a performer. I'm sure she is too.
She is.
So, I told you I had a Hollis Thomas question. I don't even know who he is.
I love him.
Who is he again?
Great dude.
He is a former nose tackle on the Philadelphia Eagles who played in the NFL for 13 years. He was with the Birds for 10 years, and he was on our show for the last 4.
So my burning question is, from the book, you said that you should send him a box of Tasty Cakes.
Oh.
Did you?
A lot of times, I don't know.
Wait a minute, he was with the afternoons for a little while too, right?
Hollis Thomas, yes, he was in the afternoon, but then he
Spike?
had a contentious relationship with Spike Eskin, who became the boss, and that kind of set him back a tad. But yeah, Hollis
thought
Thomas
he was on the show.
He was he for 13 years got smashed in the head 60
Yeah.
or 70 times a game because he was in the middle of the line, and they would snap the ball and bang, right? So he's done with his career. He's worried that he's going to have some after effects of all those times he get hit in the head. So he trained himself every single day to research and to memorize this day in history. And so he comes to me early in the first time he's on a show. He goes, "You got a slot for me? I want to do this day in history."
I thought that was just busy work you gave him.
He
I didn't know there was a
he
thing.
gave himself the work
Wow,
to
okay.
train his brain to work. And to this day, I just saw him a couple of weeks ago. I'll go, hey, it's
December 24th.
July 3rd, 2025. What happened on July 23rd?
got?
And then he would go, Woodrow Wilson in 1917. Well, he would give you, and he would know it all.
Fact.
And it was great. And he was he's the greatest guy. Most athletes I couldn't stand. All right?
I
Because
know.
they were arrogant,
From the book.
obnoxious, etc. I have a whole chapter in the book of all the people I hated. And I had to cut so much of it out.
Can you tell
Could
us
have been
an
a whole
athlete that you liked?
Athlete I liked? Oh, there were a few. Yeah,
Okay.
there.
we
I,
worked
right
with a
now,
handful.
Jalen Hurts, I think, is spectacular.
Okay.
He's honest. He's fair. He's smart. I love him. I love currently just the people now. Saquon Barkley.
Yeah.
Seems like a
Penn
great
State.
personality, a great guy, right? But I was happier when I hated them, right? So I hated Donovan McNabb. You know, we booed him at the draft, blah blah blah. And I enjoyed those guys more because you could have more fun with them. You could develop more humorous takes than you could saying, "Oh, I love him." Now, what do you
guy,
say?
right.
You're
Is that
done.
the same for you, Joe? Like,
Well,
was
I-
it harder if Angelo didn't like them?
I don't quite understand what you're asking. However,
No, just saying somebody he was much better with people who screwed up than with
Of
you know
course. Yes.
regular.
see, I think what's
more
I guess in
material.
my,
Boy
in my
Scouts.
mind, I was turning to the way it's now. And I've found in media, these guys are afraid to criticize these players, and we grew up with the angst and like, wow,
So wait,
you're
who's
not
afraid?
performing.
I'm sorry.
A lot of the current radio hosts
Okay.
are more in love with the players. They're, you could call them maybe fanboys. Now their childhood is different. They grew up seeing the Eagles win 2 Super Bowls. They grew up seeing the Phillies get to the World Series, winning a World Series in 2008. We grew up a little differently in
Yes.
that we just got close enough for many years. We grew
think
up with
50,
snowballs
right?
with Santa
Yeah.
Claus and all the negative stuff and the vet and the reputation that we wore on our sleeve as a badge of honor of like being difficult, and because we were demanding. They're not demanding anymore. They're kind of like just passé. The media anymore.
He's right, 100% right.
John and I we went to a Phillies game a few years ago, and we had great seats, and in front of us there was this family from Canada, and one of the batters got out, and the whole stadium just started booing, and they turned around, they looked at us, and they said, "Why is everybody booing your own player?"
Yeah.
Welcome to
Great.
Philly.
Concept was
Right.
just like,
Yeah, I love even the national announcers will get that. Oh, this ain't good. Wait till this crowd turns on these players. They're gonna turn on their own players. Yeah, well, it's gotten better since we've had some success. But hey, accountability. It's fine.
any success do you see in the future for Phil's Eagles?
Well, the Eagles don't need our help. They seem to be doing pretty well. All right? I don't think the Phillies are going to win because their manager's awful. All right.
I bet they left that Abel in for. Let's let Machado.
Rob Thompson. Rob Thompson is. See, if we were on, I would be killing him every day. But they're all kissing his butt.
Right.
So it's not. And basketball, that the owner there is a hedge fund
the
guy,
worst.
Josh Harris. He's
We
just
would be
awful.
running contest or parades down there demanding he sell the team.
Oh yeah,
Remember that?
we
for
forced
Kramer?
out Harold Katz, one of the previous owners, and this guy now gets away with it.
He gets away with it. He's got he owns a team against the Eagles in their own division. I mean, what is that? Seriously.
So the thing I would do, this is a secret I never told anyone.
Let's hear it.
Ooh.
I would really, really not kill a person if Joe could do his voice. Because I would not like to see the man leave and then I would lose the voice.
Right.
Like for many years, Cole Hamels was on, and he wasn't doing that great anymore. He had a great 2008, 09, and then he started to go down.
Right.
And there was speculation they were going to trade him, and I would go, no, you should don't want to. Cole Hamels is awesome. He's one of the greats because he could do them.
Of course, and I got traded, and I kind of petered out. I was only so good. I mean, World Series MVP, but that was a long time ago as a young player. But you know what, Ange? They brought me back into the broadcast booth, but they don't use me. Have you seen him?
I know.
I'm waiting for Cole.
They're not
he was
using
on one
him.
day.
Yeah.
Here I am. I got a new haircut and everything. Do you like my hair part on the side? And they don't use the guy. What happened to the Cole Hamels in the booth?
Yeah, I think they only did it once.
They got
and
about
it-
8 guys.
I don't know. I don't know. But that was a determining factor. If Joe it was one of the guys we used regularly. We tried to protect him a little bit because it was a great voice and we got a lot out of it.
Any thoughts on the WNBA coming to Philly?
Finally, we'll have a basketball team here. Maybe.
Right. I wouldn't bet on it since it appears
Some
the owner of that
testosterone.
team is also the owner of the 76ers, Joshua Harris, so I wouldn't count on too much. Plus, it's 5 years from now. I'm not sure I'll even be here for that.
Exactly.
So I want to keep this light, but we all knew Major Van Winkle. He was. I know. I want to. I don't know how he got on. I don't know where that started from, but he also lived on 82nd Street. I don't know if you remember back in the day.
Oh, wow.
He did. He was on.
Here's
82nd.
all I know. He was an amazingly talented guy who loved the Eagles, and he would write raps. We didn't do
Amazing.
rap, right? Now, rap was hard. Rap is a whole different genre. Joe dabbled in it,
Oh,
but
I couldn't do rap.
he's Irish.
It's too hard. It's too
right?
hard. I thought it was easy until I tried it.
No,
But
easy.
this guy who would have his own music, and this wasn't even just rapping. This was poetry and spoken word
And
concert.
he would
he
know-
would memorize it too.
He would, and it would be like 3 minutes.
Yeah.
And the
no
insight-
notes. He would show up and have
It
do
was
no notes.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Just in his head. And he would just
was
do it,
phenomenal.
and he would never miss. He would hit everything perfectly. And
was
he was one
deep
of the
stuff.
sweetest, nicest people I ever did. And what we didn't know is he was dealing with some darkness in his life. And it ended wow.
I know.
Talk about,
Tragedy.
now that I'm glad you brought him up because Joe's not the most talented. Major Van Winkle
Yeah,
was.
I would go for that. I would agree with that.
Major,
kid.
he was so
And
talented.
he
Yeah,
was
huh?
He was on 82nd.
Wow.
he was a kid. He was 22 and 23, 24 when
That's
he was
all he
coming
was,
in.
Joe. That's all he was. And he was great.
I was thinking his father.
Yeah.
What do we call him?
Wink.
Wink Van Winkle. He was one of the guys from the American Dream. He was a local Philly band who had a hit called "You Can't Get to Heaven on the Frankfurt L."
Wow.
That's right.
Because the Frankfurt L goes. But anyway, he was a local musician playing all over the place in Philly. And then all of a sudden, the kid comes out of nowhere. His mom was the daughter of the guy from the Phillies. So he played for the Phillies.
Right.
Mage
Mage
McDonald.
McDonald.
Yeah.
He was
Yes,
his
that's
namesake.
right. That's
He's named
right.
after. His grandfather was Mage McDonald, and Mage would come into the show. He was hilarious.
Yeah, he was.
And his mom had passed away, and it was just him and Wink for a while there. And I just couldn't understand why this kid wasn't and recording industry, and he was working at City Hall doing something.
Yeah.
Well, I have to say, he was my son's best friend.
Oh,
And
wow.
I can tell you, I would go to shows to see Sean, to see my son singing, not comedy. And Major and I would be like the only people there
Yeah.
at the
Yeah.
show.
Yeah. Wow.
Major was so loyal to Sean,
Yeah.
and their Major was rap and Sean was more singer songwriter, but they adored each other's genre and the talent. But that was a whole new thing with the insights that the Eagles, and
Oh, he was, what a fan he was, too.
he really was.
Major, he would write these things, and he was even good at attacking the opponent.
Yeah, he got the flavor
He
after
got
a while.
the whole thing. He was just, he was
See,
a
if you
quick
come on
study.
Ann's show, you have to go after. You got to get with the program. You know,
Yep.
you got to put some teeth in your bits and all
Right.
that in his songs, and he got right in there. Who are we attacking this week?
Final words. Is there another book in your future?
No.
Another podcast?
There's 3 grandkids in my future, plus 2 others who are heading to college pretty soon, and my future now is my family, and I don't think there's anything better. I'm thrilled.
He's 87 years old. How much time does he have left?
That's right. 74 to be honest. So yeah, you're right.
Let's take
Carpe
it-
diem. Every day, get the most out of it.
I will see you on the beach.
Yes.
And Joe, what's next for you?
I'm Irish. We get on the beach at 5:00, and that's the truth. You get 4 hours if you right around
If you're
this time
smart,
of year.
yeah.
It doesn't get dark until 8:30.
Get your pizza delivered down there.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
I'll see
And
you.
don't miss his shows.
I will not.
Just say
That's
those dates again.
amazing.
I can't tell you how great it is.
They're going to be gone by the time we get this out there. Next weekend, July 11th and 12th, Wildwood
have
at
to
Ocean City.
get this edited
Tickets
and
at
out, but,
JoeConklin.com.
Thank you. I really.
Thank you, Mark.
Yeah, it's great. Thank you.
You,
So nice
you
to meet
were
you guys.
both amazing.
Take all the time you need. Thank you very much. Oh, appreciate it. It's a pleasure to be here. Good luck with everything.
Thank you.
Thank you.